So my thing is, I came to this school and luckily I found Mr. Smith. He was really a big influence to me because my whole story is, and I'm not great at speeches. I took this little piece of paper, so all the things I think are important are on this piece of paper, so bear with me. And I took some Sudafed, so I may fade out here and there. So basically, when I got here, I didn't have a father growing up, right? And that may not seem important to you guys. I don't know what your situation is at home. You could either not have support or you could have support. For me, it was very difficult to come up in a business in a world that is, you need a lot of confidence. And I didn't have it, because I didn't have a father. And, I think partially when I found someone like Mr. Smith and, one or two other teachers, they really helped me, guided me a little bit. In this world, you're going to have people that will support you and people that, can I curse? People that shit on you, okay? And sometimes the shitting comes from family, comes from friends. So I don't know what you guys' dreams like. Does anyone here have any ideas what they want to do with their life after this?
Well, open up a restaurant with marijuana ingredients.
Okay. That's it's funny you say that because I do have some friends getting into that industry as we speak. How about any other guys? You guys want to all do automotive or open your own place or work for insurance companies or what? What? A farmer? So what got you here?
Parents and employment.
Okay.
And children.
Children, okay. When it comes to anything you want to do in life, and I'm not trying to preach to you guys, I'm not trying to come here and tell you guys that I did everything right. I made every mistake you could make. And, when I was talking to Mr. Smith, I said, well, it'd be great to get to some of you guys now and try to give you a little bit of, I wish what someone would have said to me. We had a gentleman come here, do you remember the customizer? He was a painter, he did some airbrushing, did some custom paint.
A friend of mine, Hvcc.
Yeah, and this isn't knocking him. And one of the comments he said to me was, if you do custom work, everyone will know who you are, but you won't make any money. And I said, I didn't believe it. And it was something that always stayed in the back of my head. In this world, whether you want to be a farmer or the pot business, restaurant, whatever you want to do, a lot of the things I'm going to tell you, I think still apply. The first thing for me was, when I got out of school, self-employment isn't for everyone. It sucks. You got to have something inside you that pushes you past the pain of it. But at the end of the line, it almost gets better as things start getting better. You go, okay, now I made the right decision. But for 10 or 15 years, I was eating shit, and doing jobs that I would say I knew I was getting killed, but there were some good opportunities. Money-wise, I knew it was going to hurt me. But sometimes you want to put yourself in that place, and that applies to everything. If you're that business or you're a farmer, you may have to give away a pallet of whatever you're selling, or you may have to invite a party in to come to your restaurant for whatever you're doing, and it kind of all goes back and forth with that. For me, it was support. I didn't have support, and I didn't have someone in my life, because like I said, I came from, my father was shot and killed when I was young, so I had all types of mental bullshit that I grew up with. I went to really bad schools in the city and I got out of that. But I didn't have that support. I didn't have somebody to say, hey, do this, do this, do this. Where all the kids I grew up with, I thought had the perfect life. Now, I don't know all your lives here, but I was brought up around a bunch of kids with money that had mom and dad at home, that had brothers and sisters, they went to Disneyland, and I was like the kid that was allowed to stay out till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock because my mom was working 17 hours a day. So even though my mother got me out of the city and got me out of a bad situation, my mother didn't know how to support me. She didn't know how to, sometimes it takes you to hear from another man, to be like, you can do this or you can do that. One of my favorite stories about Mr. Smith was, there was another teacher here. Can I share on him a little bit? Is it okay? Can I not say names, but just a little bit? Okay.
Yeah.
So there was a teacher here that I opened my mouth and I said something stupid in front of. And there were some issues, whatever. And I'm not going to go into what I said and why it was bad, but he just like, right after I said that, and now that I'm a little bit more mature, I realize it was even stupid to say, because when I was opening my mouth, I didn't know who around me may have that. You know, you may talk to somebody and talk about something that happened to you, but meanwhile, it's still a sore, you know, it's a sore spot in somebody else's life. So he didn't like me. I mean, it was like, everyone's like, what did you do? Like, I'm thinking like, what could have happened that this guy didn't like me, right? And then it kind of, you know, it kind of came to pass. And he was shitting on the idea of having your own business. Shitting on the idea of having your own business. And I said, well, it's kind of unfortunate that somebody would take a young, you guys have so much opportunity. This whole world is different from when I grew up. You guys have everything. So if you don't do it, it's your fault. And that's another thing, you know, I'll get back to. But, you know, long story short, this guy was knocking my idea of having my own business. And I knew that was in my heart, like, because my grandfather, you know, had his own business. So Mr. Smith grabbed me and took me over to a body shop. And he said, look, that's a giant body shop, right? This place probably did, God knows, 50 cars a week, whatever. And he said, this guy started in the garage you couldn't open the doors out of. I don't know if you remember that garage, but
I don't.
I can drive you there. I don't know where it is, but I can drive you there right now. So just him taking the time to be like, and he basically said, don't let anybody else dictate what you're going to do in your life. And when I say that, I mean anybody else. Now, like, so that guy's situation, I think, was a little bit out of my arrogance. I was arrogant. I thought I could do anything. I still do, which is one of my driving forces, but not as I'm trying to be better than anybody. I look at it and say, I'll work harder than anybody. It doesn't matter. If I'm not as good as you at something, I'm going to work 10 times harder. And it kind of goes back to one of the things I say to my guys in the shop. If you can't do something, right, or you're let's put it this way. If you're really good at one part of the job, fly through that part of the job, right? So you can slow down when you have a problem, okay? If you're trying to, you know, like I do everything. Unfortunately, it's one of the things that it took me longer to get really into a niche and really find customers. You know, but if you could get to the point where when you have to slow down, your boss isn't like, what the fuck is this guy doing, you know? A lot of people will dilly-dally. This generation, and I don't know who in here hustles and who doesn't and who wants better things in life. I went from not having, worrying about where we were going to live. You know, my mother was always like, we're going to lose our house, we're going to this, we're going to that, you know, because of the shit we went through when I was a kid. So I had a lot of drive. You know, so when, you know, getting back to that, as far as, you know, my guys will dilly-dally sometimes. And then when they have to do the hard part, they're like, oh, and now it's the end of the day. You know, now I'm looking at them like, well, why were you wasting time before? So that kind of goes back to, as far as if you're working at a shop, like when I got out of here, I got a couple jobs right away. Because I went to school, okay? And in the body business, and this is no mystery, you know, and in automotive, but in the body business, at least back when I was doing it, drugs was like drugs. And now it's funny because pot isn't even what it was. But like at the shops I went to, it'd be pot breaks. It wouldn't be a coffee break. Everyone would be high. And I'm like, I can't work high. I can't do that. There's also a lot of cocaine and, you know, not to say what you guys should do with your life, but there's certain drugs you can have some fun and chill, and then there's certain drugs that will mess you up. And I've seen cocaine take good people, smart people, and turn them into nothing in my life. Guys that could have ran Google now have nothing. You know, so going back to, you know, what one of my teachers said, you know, you're going to have family that will doubt you. Family will tell you not to do your farm. Family will tell you not to do your pot restaurant. My thing is, I think that the most important thing is doing what you love, okay? Doing what love will get you through the shitty times. Is that you pay for it, right? But like, what's the worth? Some people enjoy the idea of working at a good job, getting a good paycheck, going home and having a hobby. I didn't have a hobby for a long time. So when my friends are like, oh, I'm gonna go golfing. I'm like, what do you mean, golf? I don't golf, I stress. When I'm at work, I'm stressing. You know, so there's a trade-off between being self-employed, wanting your own business, and none of it's easy. Like, regardless of what you're gonna do, nothing's easy, right? And if you're gonna do a business and you're not gonna push yourself, you know, harder than anyone else, you're gonna fail. Success comes from determination. So regardless of what you're gonna do, whether you're gonna go work at a body shop, You know, I mean, does anyone else here have anything they want to do that they know they want to do at this point? Nobody? That's curious. I'm curious why you guys feel that way. You're just afraid to say it, or?
No, really decisive. I have no idea what I want to do.
Okay.
I can just,
Okay. All right. Well, again, guys. What do you want to do? Okay, I did that. It's a good idea. I had auto body mechanics in a custom shop in the same building, and I was making a shit ton of money, more money I ever thought I could make. Again, you have, like, my problem is I had to learn how to do good at everything. I had to learn how to do good interiors. I had to learn how to do good custom paint. I had to do the collision because when the custom paint was slow, you have a napkin or something?
Yep.
When the custom work was slow, I would paint sneakers, like Ego and all that bullshit, and you know, our shop name, we got a lot of attention and all that. But the thing about me, that coffee is burning me up. The thing about me is I'm not afraid to do anything, you know, like literally anything. And ego will fuck you up too, because if you're like, so when I got started with this, there was a lot of people making money. I probably had like 10 friends that all had shops. We used to go to shows together, hang out. All of those guys are closed and done. Because a lot of them, not to say they were bad or good, some were bad, but a lot of them had an ego about what they deserve, what this world, I only work at Mercedes, I only work on this, I only do that. And when I say ego, if you don't check your ego, and my business is built on trying to be, we're the best, we're this, we're that, but people that really know me know that's all bullshit. But you gotta put that out there because some other people, like, you gotta show your teeth sometimes. You know, if you're getting into an area where you're going to go to shows and be judged against other people, you know, you have to sometimes know when you have to be a little strong and kind of stand up for yourself, or to, you know, back up a little bit. You know, as far as doing the body business, mechanics, and the custom work, it was really good money for me. So I was like, oh, I like that. You know, like when you get that day when you make, you know, you make big bucks, but again, it comes with a price. Overhead sucks, you know, everything else. Does anyone else have anything that they know what they want to do?
Music production.
Okay, that's interesting. So what got you here to this business, to the body?
Well, I want to be expert as well. Music
Okay.
passion.
Well, that's it, and that's what I was going to say. Having a good career, but like, if you, like sometimes if you ask me when I'm frustrated, I'm like, oh man, I should have become a cop like my brother. My brother was the chief of police, he was making big bucks. He had a hobby, he enjoyed his life after. Sometimes I say to myself, wow, maybe it would have been just get a really good job. I don't have a pension, right? I don't have any plans, so I got to make it big to not be homeless, right? Things are going good now, but I went up. I had a 10,000 square foot shop. My shop was nicer than a dealership shop, like beautiful. And then as I was buying this building with a partner, it was $1 million building, and I'm not trying to impress you guys. I was like, $1 million? What? I don't know. We don't want to buy nothing for $1 million, you know? We got into this big building, and the economy was kind of tanking as the internet was getting better, right? So like, I was selling wheels. I was selling so many wheels, it was like, I didn't even have to really work. I didn't have to do my trade. But then as I saw these things happening, thank God we didn't get the, actually the owner of the building screwed me out of the lease because he thought some other dude was going to buy it, right? So long story short, I got saved from that. And that's when I went upstate and I opened the body shop, a little bit further upstate, and a body shop repair and the custom work. And I had my best year. So you think about that, I had this big beautiful building where I was suffering because it looked, you came to my place, you'd think I was a millionaire. But reality was I was sucking wind because the overhead was so high. Then I did that and things, that's when my life started to bounce back a little bit. The thing about a trade, regardless of what you guys are going to do after this, right? A trade will save you from, listen, I got friends of mine, I don't know how else to say it, but I got friends of mine that didn't take things serious. That were at your stage right now, and they were like, I'm going out partying, I'm drinking, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And now they're telling, like I was telling before, my one friend said to me, the balls to say this to me, you know me my whole life. When they were out partying, I was in my garage working. When they were going to the shore, I was in my shop working. You know, I made the sacrifices. And my friend recently told me, he goes, oh, you're lucky. You're lucky. I said, where the fuck do you see luck? I said, if anything, I'm unlucky, right? I'm unlucky. Like every bad thing that could happen. As a matter of fact, I was telling before, I had a super wealthy customer. Guy made everything from scratch, right? He said to me one day, he goes, man, you just don't give up. He goes, I don't know how do you take all these hits? Like there was like 3 years where every shitty thing could happen. I lost family, friends, like business problems, but you could decide to fail. Sometimes it's okay to have a day where you're like, oh, this sucks, man. I gotta sit back and wake up, but you gotta get back up that next day and fight. You know what I mean? And that's more about what I'm talking about. You know, as far as all the stuff I do, that stuff's learned. Like you could learn that. You could learn production. You could learn farming. You know, you want to do the body business, you could learn that. But it's the things that keep you successful, the determination, the drive, the never quitting. Like if with like my daughter, like every single day I tell her, you can do whatever you want to do. But that's not something, you could hear it, but if you believe it is a different story. And it took me to have people like Mr. Smith in my life to say that. And just that little subtle thing he did for me, that was like, in the back of my mind, it always came back to me. Every time I doubted myself a little, it came back to me. I had another teacher that I used to fight a lot. I used to get in a lot of street fights, and I hurt a lot of people. I did a lot of dumb shit, and I regret it, okay? But I had a chip on my shoulder from my whole dad dying thing, so I thought the world owed me something. So when I wouldn't pick on anyone, but if I saw a bully, saw a fight, I'd jump in the middle of it. You guys can't do that nowadays. You guys go out and hit someone and hurt somebody, you're gonna go to jail. I'm so lucky that all my dumb shit happened at that point in time. You know, but as far as, let me just see where I was. Regardless, you know, the drive and the determination is something that you guys have to, whatever you decide to do, that's, you know, that's the most important thing. I'm just gonna look over this because there were some things I wanted to say here. I had one teacher that basically when I was fighting, okay, he grabbed me and he said, this was important. He said to me one day, he goes, do you think anybody cares? And this is when I fight to drop the hat. He looked at me funny, I fight. And, you know, he said, do you think anyone cares if you were here? And I'm like, what are you talking about? You know, I'm all crazy. And he goes, if you die tomorrow, your family will be upset, I might be upset, but the world will go on. And for some reason, it took that chip off my shoulder because it made me feel like I'm not as important as I thought I was. Like I felt like I got wrong because my dad died, right? And I took that with me, like the whole world owed me something. But the whole world, there's people with a lot worse situation than what I went through. So that was one teacher that really made a big impact in my life. So like you guys have somebody here, you know, now, you know, you have two people here that have so much knowledge for you guys to like not take advantage of it. Like, I don't know if Mrs. Smith knew how much time I spent in the shop that I wasn't supposed to be there. I don't know if you knew. But what I would do is I'd walk out, everyone would say goodbye. I'd walk back in, I'd go buy a bunch of stuff in here, some donuts, I'd look at that, and I'd walk out, give all the guys that were cleaning and hanging out, and I'd get back in the shop and I would start using, you know, whatever I could do without causing too much attention. I'm glad I did it because this is an opportunity for you guys to sit here with this setup. You know, this is amazing. This is real deal amazing. I get guys that come to my shop that have never made well, ever. And they say to me, oh, I want to make this much money, I want to make that much money. It sounds good, but they don't have the experience. You guys have a fast forward to the experience. You don't want to start learning this shit when you go out to get your job. And going back to the whole trade thing, everyone in here can go make money doing auto body tomorrow. And I'll tell you what, when I decided to go in my own business, I basically got a couple jobs right away just because I went to school and I had a degree. And they were like, you got a degree? You're not a drug addict? You got a job. And going back to giving shit away, I walked into this one place and I was like, because at first they didn't need any help. And there's always room for one more person, right? So I said, well, why don't you let me show you what I can do, how hard I can work for you. No, we're okay, you know, I'll call you, I'll take your number. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll work for free this 1 week. If you don't like how I do, you let me go, no hard feelings. I went in there with like fucking 102 fever. I could barely stand up, right? I've always had sinus issues and that. So I walked in there and I'm buffing, I'm hustling, I'm busting ass. I could barely stand up. But between car, I'd take a break, I'd lean on the wall. I thought I was gonna pass out. This guy gave me a job. He gave me more money than I was asking for because I showed him. So like if you go, you know, especially for me when people come in, I get guys that are cocky, the worst thing you could do. You can be confident, but if you're cocky, now I'm looking for holes. If you're, so my thing is this, the more you arm yourself here, regardless if you want to farm, you can still go make good money doing this business. But don't do it halfway, because halfway people never make it. And I'm not trying to knock anybody, but my friends that didn't take shit serious, now in my age, when they're in their 40s, now they're trying to go backwards and figure it out. And that don't work, I mean, sometimes there's a time limit. You guys there's a clock ticking, right? Right now, everywhere you guys are going to be when you're my age, right now there's someone who's learning to compete for your job, to compete for your farming, your body work, your business, your pot thing, right? Probably more than anybody. Right now, everyone's like, I'm going to make money in the wheat business, which is, maybe it's great. Maybe that's the new thing. But there's still someone that's going to learn how to try to be a better businessman than you. There's still, it doesn't matter what you do. There's someone right this second that when you're like, man, I'm not going to put in that extra hour, or I'm not going to take interest in that. There's someone that's like, I'm going to take the extra hour, I'm going to take that interest. And when you guys meet, he's going to be more prepared than you. And that's what always scared me. It scared me. Like, we did a TV show. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Funkmaster Flex, the DJ. We did a show with him. And we went against 3 other shops, right? So, first of all, the way I am, I told my guys, I can't put my neck on the line and lose. It was one of the first TV things we did. And, so we got the cars from Manhattan Ford, and I can try to show you guys some of this stuff, and I give you links to everything. We were at Manhattan Ford, and they gave us these trucks, and like the other guys went out partying, went to strip clubs, went out drinking. We flew home from Manhattan, okay, to my shops, about an hour. By the next morning, 8 o'clock, when the camera crew showed up, because we were the first place they were really filming, we had the truck down to the frame, everything out, doors off, interior out, stripped out. We already started to do things. So the production, the camera guy walked in and he goes, oh, these guys are gonna win. And they're like, we can't say that, we can't say that. He goes, yeah, but look at what they did already. The other guys are sleeping off a hangover. So if you think about how many hours I got on those guys, so then I started talking shit to my guys. I'm like, yo, their team, I looked into it. This guy's a sick welder, this guy's a body guy, this guy's awesome with stereos. I was showing these guys fake pictures. Like, yo, you see what these guys did? They were like, oh shit. I got my guys all, I got them all turned up. We had 6 weeks of working like 20-hour days. And it turns out, and everyone kind of looked at me like, at the end, we flew past our competition like 1,000 miles an hour. There was nothing left of them. Even when, it's funny, when we were at Manhattan Ford, we had an airline, this is a little joke here, but we had an airbag strip, right? So we're in the basement of Manhattan Ford, we have airbags in this thing. I actually ran a system with the AC and we filtered it and we got the car to run off the airbag, off the AC system and go fast. I'm sorry. So long story short, my guy Dave, who's super turbo smart, guy's a genius, now he works with Lamborghinis and stuff. He's trying to put this airbag fitting in. It's not going. It's popping out after the 3rd thread. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, we got fucking 20 minutes left. All this time, and you're telling me we're gonna be stuck in the basement? Because they prejudged it in the basement. Like Fat Joe and a couple other people, the guy who designed the truck who didn't like me because we took his truck from looking stock to looking really nice, and all the other car designers were like, did you see what these guys did to your truck? And he had said something at first. He goes, how are you going to make 20 out of my 10? This is the guy judging my truck. So we won so bad that the guy didn't want us to win. He still had to go with us. So anyway, long story short, I'm looking at him. I'm going, what do you mean the bag's messed up? So now, by the grace of God, I don't know what you guys believe in, and there's a lot of little things that happen in my life that I'm not like, I don't go to church, and I don't, but there are some things that happen in my life that I feel like, something happened. So I'm going through this box that we grabbed, and there was an airbag fitting, old airbag fitting. Had no reason to be there, but it was the right size, and I was like, oh shit. I said to my friend, I said, please, Dave, I said, and my friend Dave is a mechanical genius. He builds DSM cars, 910 set car guys. He's one of the smartest people I know. And I'm like, man, if one of my dopey guys is like, it's not working, I'm like, watch out, let me do it. The fact that Dave was having a problem, I was like, all right, there's a real problem here. So I sit down, and like I said, I'm not that religious, but at that moment, I was praying to everybody I knew in heaven to please God, please. And I put it in 1, 2, I get to the 3rd thread. And what I did was I I took a wrench and I got it to where I thought it was sticky, and I just gave it a little tap tap just to catch it, see if it would catch that groove. I grabbed the wrench, and it goes 4, 5, 6, boom, jam the airbag line in, boom, the car goes up, we make it, we go upstairs, we win. So that was just, funny how things work out. So I guess, my thing was with the trade, going back to that, nobody can take it away from you, okay? If you're good in anything you do, the word gets around. If you're a good painter, like I went from being like the guy like begging to paint. As a matter of fact, the one shop I went to, there was this really good painter. He didn't give a shit anymore. He was good, he just didn't care. Running shit, leaving shit, sand it out, see you later, go to lunch, come back. So his wife got sick. So my boss said to me, he goes, you want to paint, right? I said, yeah, I want to paint. Give me something to paint. He goes, no, you're the painter. I said, oh, what do you mean I'm the painter? I said, I want to paint. I don't want to be the painter. Because the painter comes with pressure, right? You guys, some of you guys experience, and that pressure it could be in any business. It could be, and I said, oh shit, I don't know if I want to be a painter. I sort of doubt myself. Like, I'm going to do it with a lot of confidence. He said that, and I shit my pants. Like, it drained right out of me. So I'm trying to be like, yeah, I'll be the painter. I walk outside and go, oh my God, I'm going to fuck it up. They're going to fire me. Everyone's going to hate me. And the first few days were sketchy. I was slow. And I'll tell you another thing. And I'm going to go all over the place. So just stick with me because I'm telling you as I think of it. So when I went to the shop, and when he said to be the painter, I already painted probably 40 cars, 30 cars, 50 cars. I was painting cars before this. But I didn't have that body shop experience, more of which I wish I would have taken here more serious. I took this serious, but now I'm like, I don't even take it anywhere near as serious as I should have. Because the world is fucking brutal. The world will fuck you up, and the world doesn't care if you're in the street homeless. Your mother, your sister, your brother might, but everyone else doesn't, right? So I walked in there a little cocky at first, well, there's a couple shops. At this one place, I had a reputation that you could paint. And then I couldn't paint. I could paint at my house with my timeline. I could have lunch. I could go to the store. I could come back and do. So my one boss said to me, he goes, Ed, do me a favor. We had a really long shot. He goes, Ed, go get me the body card with the compound on it. So I walk down there. I come back, and he's looking at his watch. He goes, that took you X amount of time. Now I'm like, oh shit, he was timing me. Now I look like an asshole. So he said to this other guy, Raul, go get me the body card. He told me to put it back. You stand here. He goes, Raul, go get the body card. Came back. Less than half the time it took me to do it. And he goes, now think about that. He goes, if you do that all day, am I making money or am I losing money on you? Should I pay him twice what I pay you? And I said, oh shit, right? So then another lesson, when I was, I think when I was up here, I worked in a body shop that was a few towns away. And the guy said to me, can you tape cars, right? So I said, come on, tape a car? Who couldn't tape a car, right? You think you could tape a car if you've done it, but when you're next to a professional that does it every day, it becomes very apparent. So there was this, you ever guys, man, I don't know how many of you guys remember the Samoan wrestlers, anybody here?
I do.
Okay, the Samoans, right? I worked with a dude that was their cousin. Yoked up, jacked, bigger than shit. So, no, he was, I don't know if he was related to them somehow. He had pictures of them on his toolbox. I think he was a cousin, maybe a second cousin, I don't know, but he was jacked. It wasn't The Rock. If I worked with The Rock, I remember. So this guy was big. So my boss put me on a car, right, with him. So he's starting here, I'm at this fender. I'm working, I look, I'm like, oh shit, this guy's moving quick. I'm thinking he's got to come back to something. Oh shit. I get to the back of the second door, he's already like right here. He went around the car and beat me. And I said, oh shit. So I go to my boss and said, I don't know, I feel stupid saying this, but I don't think I know how to tape. I said, I apologize. So again, there's another example of real world. Here is real world. These guys may get on you and try to break your balls, but they're only doing it to prep you for how I don't know you, I know you have your moments, but you're always nice, but we could get you, I remember getting you a little frustrated once in a while. As these guys, if you think what they give you is anything to what a real boss is going to give you, when you're making money, if you're not making money, don't worry about it. If you're the guy just sanding and sweeping and you're the guy expected really not to do shit, there's not that much pressure on you. But when a guy starts paying you $1,000 a week, $1,500 a week, $2,000 a week, you gotta understand that every second you spend has to be profitable, okay? And you get that here. And like I said, whether it's welding, whether it's mechanics, whether it's body work, if I was back at this school, he would have to kick me out of the door. If I had to redo it again, I would live here. They would have to literally drag me out of here. All the things you have in your life that distract you, you remember when I was girls and cars, luckily the car thing kept me kind of in my direction. But I was thinking about going out, chicks, and this, and that's all great. But you can't lose focus of how valuable this moment is. You got kids, okay, so when I graduated, they had, I think do you remember how many kids we graduated with?
Probably around 19.
19, all right, so when we graduated, we all did our little thing, right?
Walk the stage.
Yeah. Our little group was funny. We're like the dirtbags of the, right? The car guys.
Guys, one of the things, when Ed came here and when Matt came too, Mr. Perry, it was a 1-year body program, all right? It wasn't a 2-year program that you guys have. So he had to take engine rebuilding, transmissions, all the mechanical things that go with it, and he got 2 semesters of auto body, that was it.
Yeah.
So I gave him a framing class and a refinishing class,
Yep.
and a panel straightening class, both of them. That's all they had.
I remember putting not to interrupt you, I remember putting a goddamn body hammer through, he said to me, he goes, we're gonna learn the right way. What's that? We're gonna shrink this dent in metal work, no Bondo. Right? You're a superstar with Bondo, right?
Just make them fix dents without losing body.
I put probably my pin hammer, the
Pick hammer.
pick hammer through probably 4 fenders. You mother bang! I go get another one back. Then I got it. But now I see the value of it. It's going back. Now when I see my guys trying to mud shit up, I'm like, oh, listen. I don't even try to put them through that because forget about losing. But again, that's one thing that you want, and what's really messed up is we live in a good world here. I don't know where people come from. I came from really broke startup. We really sometimes have to worry about food in our house, okay? So I don't